dropped Marcus Rashford after he called in sick for training last season. What concerns do you have about Marcus's lifestyle off the pitch?
I'm going to say again, it was not a disciplinary thing. It's the small details, and you can see the games like I see. There's some things that has to change, but it's a new life. It's not a disciplinary thing. It's the performance in training, the performance in game, and then I have to change to choose players. Johnny Evans did everything right. He was at home, and also is very important for us. If it was disciplinary, I will say that here, and it will be a bigger problem. But it was not.
Right, buddy, there you can hear Ruben Amorim talking about what happened with Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford after they were dropped and left out of the squad in yesterday's game against Manchester City. Obviously, he said it wasn't a disciplinary thing, it was something that was based on the performance in training. I mean, listen, early on, we've seen that happen before. Erik ten Hag called out Jadon Sancho in the media, and that toxicity has arisen. Now, obviously, it was something that was discussed between Garnacho, Rashford, and Ruben Amorim to make that decision to leave them out of the squad. Ultimately, Amorim has made some big decisions since becoming Manchester United manager, and that is another big one. Now, I think it was the correct decision to leave them out. I think if they're not performing well in training, there was reports about a bust-up in training. Obviously, Amorim has cleared that. Now, what happened with Rashford and Garnacho is, listen, the next game, Spurs, they will probably be back in the squad. It was based on probably a disciplinary thing, or it wasn't of a disciplinary thing, it was based on performance, and ultimately they will be back in their squad. But you look at that, they were watching at home, Manchester United beat Man City 2-1 in a great performance, and probably our best result under Ruben Amorim, and they're going to be frustrated that they didn't get any minutes, and ultimately that's going to make them work even harder. The fact that Amorim left two of Manchester United's best attackers at home is obviously something big, and something that does, listen, there's always going to be an overreaction when your manager leaves out two of your best attackers in recent years. It always is going to be a big reaction. It is with Manchester United, but he's come out, confirmed it. The players know why they weren't in the squad. They know what they must do better. You've seen Rashford didn't do anything call out on social media. He was he did a post about the players saying what result it was, and listen, he probably understands that now. It's obviously big for Rashford. He's going to want to be fighting in this place, and our reports are suggesting that Manchester United wouldn't mind Marcus Rashford leaving. There's a lot of intent in that. It is certainly very interesting, and I'm very, very happy to see the way that Ruben Amorim has managed it. His man management's been so good, he's so effective at the minute, and I'm very, very happy with the way that he is running Manchester United at this current moment. I think the way that he's performed in terms of coaching players, managing players, and with Rashford and Garnacho, listen, on Rashford's case, Rashford is a very good player. We know that. We've seen it at Manchester United many, many times before. He's shown that he can be a decent player for Manchester United. Now with Manchester United and with Ruben Amorim, listen, there'll be some players that will move on that we don't want to see, and could Rashford be one of them? May well be. Ultimately, I think Rashford is a decent player, but if Amorim wants to get rid of him, we have to respect the manager's decision. On Garnacho again, he's a young player. This is what his third season in the first team. He is constantly progressing. He's a player who makes things happen. And yes, we've got to give Garnacho time. He still is young, but with Rashford, he's experienced pro, someone who's been at the club now since the age of 7. He's been in the first team for 10, 11 seasons, and when he's having up and down, inconsistent seasons, you have to look at, would Manchester United want to sell him? I mean, reports are suggesting £40 million to get rid of Marcus Rashford. That would be absolutely insane if that does happen. As I said, I like Rashford. I think he's a good player. If Amorim wants to get rid of him, you have to respect that decision. I think it's a decision that won't come lightly. They will discuss all alternatives and all decisions that should happen. But again, if you're Rashford and you're being missed out of a team, or you're not playing in the Manchester derby when you're a local lad, obviously you have to look at that. I think you will take a lot from this. I think you will learn a lot from this game, and ultimately it will be something Manchester United will look at and say, listen, he's on 365 grand a week. Would we mind selling him? Do you want to sell him? Like, it will be all things considered. But let's see what does happen on the Rashford situation. I think he will be sold. A move in January would be ideal, though a salary of £365,000 a week means only a few clubs could afford him. Now those clubs probably be PSG. Listen, where does Rashford go with the issue if he does leave now? That is probably looking like the likeable outcome. I mean, Plettenberg was reporting that could be able to leave as early as the summer. Now that would certainly be interesting to see what happens with that. But Ruben Amorim has decided Marcus Rashford needs to leave Manchester United and push to engineer a shift in culture throughout the club for football and non-football staff. Obviously, he said the feeling that Rashford's time is up, and that ultimately is something that Manchester United will have to talk about. I think it will be disappointing. Rashford would want to stay at the club. He knows we know he likes the club a lot, but it's looking like the time is up for Rashford at Manchester United, and he will be sold. But listen, let's see what happens. Garnacho, there could be a way back, but Rashford is looking very, very tough for him at this current moment in a Manchester United shirt. I think he is a player who has struggled with confidence. We know there's a player in there with Rashford. He can score goals, he can create chances. He's an electric player when you get him on form. But ultimately, we haven't seen that form enough with him at Manchester United. We've seen a good few seasons, but ever since he scored the 30 goals under Ten Hag, he's done relatively nothing since then. And with these purple patches, you can't have that. And yes, it'd be bad, because if Rashford leaves, he will probably rip up elsewhere. But Manchester United cannot take that risk at the moment to pay 350 grand a week. And listen, what Amorim said, it's for the standards, the way they dress, the way they do everything. He said he's not concerned about Rashford's life off the pitch. But I think he probably will be, with all the stories that are coming out. And I think he will be someone who leaves Manchester United in the future, in the next couple of weeks, and definitely in the summer. But obviously it's on a lot of money. It will be very hard to get suitors in to sign him. I'm going to go through all the stories that have come out anyway in a separate video, but it is very frustrating with Rashford, because you want him to win the Premier League at Manchester United. You look at him, 27. This system just doesn't suit him, and there's always going to be, when a new manager comes in, there's always going to be players who have to leave due to just not fit in the system, and it looks like Marcus Rashford is one of them. I think inside forward, he's in the position for him. He just hasn't got that technical quality, and close to goal, we've tried him in the striker position, hasn't worked. Would a wing back position be perfect for him? Probably not, because his work ethic has been critiqued, his quality has been critiqued. Would he be able to defend? And also the main issue is with Rashford as well. Would he work in that position? He's done 365 grand a week, then bare minimum hasn't been there. I know he talks about how much he likes Manchester United, but we haven't seen that enough. So that's that on Rashford. As I said, finally on Garnacho, he could be someone who does stay at Manchester United, but he's still young and we've got to give him time. Whereas Rashford, he's had a lot of time and hasn't really proven it. So two completely different situations, but they were both left out due to not being good enough in training. But let me know your thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Peace.